What's up, everybody? Welcome to BioWars 3 Raw TV. We're back in the living room today. It's been a while since we've actually been in the living room. We've been doing a lot of filming on the deck, but when we do the living room talks, they're serious talks, right? They're more heart-to-hearts. So today we're going to tackle something that I think is a hot topic. It's going to be a bigger topic. See you, buddy. Brady. And I think it's going to be, has a potential to be very disruptive for America again, and that is the taking down of some of our American monuments, our historical monuments. Now, the George Floyd murder has sparked, again, some definite protests that are going beyond the situation that happened. Obviously, it brings awareness to a problem that's been around for a long period of time, which is still a problem, right? Now, here's how I feel about the monuments. But now, again, I think a little bit different. Put up a post on his Facebook with, it was like 100 and something, or it was some outrageous number of these American monuments that tie into the Confederacy somehow. And I don't understand who all the people are. Like, I'm not a big US history buff. Like, my thing is, I don't live in those areas. So those monuments, I didn't even know they existed. To be totally honest with you, I had no idea. I mean, I live in DC, I know the monuments here. But like many of us, if we don't live there, we have no idea these monuments are there. It's not like we learned in school about a monument that may be in Wisconsin about somebody who was with the Confederacy. Like, you don't learn all that stuff, right? The monuments are set up for the people that basically either founded those areas or were from there, whatever the case may be. So these monuments that I didn't even know existed. People, Jerry, well, how do you feel about the monuments being taken down? Well, first of all, most of them I didn't even know existed. So my question to you is, if you didn't even know they existed, why would you care if anybody took them down? Right? That's my question, right? Now, another question is, and I asked a couple of my friends this, I said, have you known those things were there? And they're like, well, yeah, I walk by them every day. I said, cool. I said, well, have they bothered you for your whole life? Well, no, I just recently started thinking about it because of the George Floyd thing. I'm like, okay, so you've walked by them your entire life, right? And they've never affected you. You've never even thought twice. They've never bothered you. Because George Floyd was murdered and now it's been brought up and there's been a narrative now about these things and it's actually been pushed at you now. Now that gets you thinking. I'm not saying it hasn't got you thinking, but are you truly upset? Does it truly affect you? Or are you being, I don't want to say manipulated, but brainwashed or having something planted in your head that you should now feel this way about something that you did in the past? If you came up with it on your own, I'd be like, look, you know, I completely understand. But if you're like, well, I didn't think about it until everybody else started saying something and now I'm pissed. So here's the thing. If you didn't know it was there, or you knew it was there, but you didn't know what it meant, or it didn't bother you, you just went about your day, and all of a sudden somebody's telling you, this is bad, we need to get rid of this, and they're putting that, or they're exposing you to it. I don't say putting it in your head, but they're exposing you to it. Are you really having your own thoughts, or are you having the thoughts of someone else that's repeating something over and over again that then seems offensive because of the context that they create and give to you? Is that what's going on? And, you know, a couple of people are like, no, I'm just offended. I'm like, okay, cool. You know, like, I mean, you feel how you feel. A couple people are like, well, you know what? That's actually a good point. Cool. So we're having open, good discussions about it, right? Now, here's my take on the situation and my solution for it. Some people want the monuments taken down. Some people don't want them taken down. Some people like me are impartial and say, hey, if you want to take them down, fine. If not, cool. I'm cool with it either way. Like, whatever you guys want to do. Now, I feel, my personal opinion, that this should be up to the people who live in that area. Like, let's say there's a specific monument. The people that live in that area, if they decide that that's offensive and they no longer want it in their community, now it's time to vote, right? We're a democracy. We talk about it being a free country. Democracy, majority wins, right? We do that with our elections. We do that with everything, right? With laws that we put in, bills, everything. Everything is voted on, right? Well, this is something major. It's going to affect America and our history in your towns. So I don't feel like if I live in DC, I should be like, somebody has to take something down in Wisconsin. That's none of my fucking business. People in Wisconsin can do whatever the fuck they want. Because I don't want the people in Wisconsin telling me what to do here in Virginia, right? So each state should technically deal with it on their own way. Every state should say, here's the deal. In light of what's happening, we know that this could be offensive to some people, maybe not others. We're going to vote to decide what we want to do as a community in your community moving forward. You then have a vote. If the vote goes through and the statues need to be removed, monuments need to be removed, remove them. If you have a vote and the vote is nay, the statues stay. Let the people that live in the communities vote on what they want to do with their own fucking communities. Period. Done. And then what happens is, if they're voted to remove them, put the monuments, statues, whatever, in a place like a museum, maybe in the Smithsonian here in DC, whatever the case may be, so that history is not forgotten. I think that's what some people are arguing. They're saying if you don't remember your history, you're doomed to repeat it, which is true. So we need to remember the history and who these people are, and not just from books, but that visual of those monuments helps. So to tear it down, blow it up, burn it, cut it up, no. Put it in a museum where it belongs, in the context of this is who this person was. This statue was here in Wisconsin and I'm just using Wisconsin as an example. I just pulled it out of my ass. It stood in Wisconsin for 200 years. And finally, people decided they didn't want it any longer because it represented something negative and racist, and they wanted to get rid of it. And here it is here now, and this is how it wound up here. And this is why. This is what this individual did. This is why people feel like that. This is the history. The tour guide could actually have a physical representation, which helps people learn even better, right? Now that's, another way of going about it. Now, I kind of sit back and I think to myself, what is the right answer for most people? I think the right answer is to vote on it. I think many people, right now are very emotional. I think they're thinking about things that are generally under the surface, but are dealt with in a different way. And people have just had enough. They want to be heard at this point, right? Well, voting makes you heard. It does it in a civilized manner. And I think it's fair on both sides for everybody that wants, whatever they want in the community to get it done. Now, the things that I don't feel like should be removed are things like the Washington Monument, George Washington, our first president, things that represent our history and let me just state this, because this is actually something that's very upsetting to me, and I'm going to put this out there now. The defacing of these different monuments that happened during the George Floyd incident, the destruction of them, I'm not going to say I condone it. I'm not going to say I condone it whatsoever, because I don't. I think it's bullshit. I think if you're doing illegal shit, but no matter what color you are, you should pay the fucking price. I have had to go to jail for dumb shit. You should have to go to jail for breaking the law. That's all there is. You're not above me. I'm not above you. I don't care what your race is. I don't care what your feelings are. You break the law, you should pay for that no matter who you are, what color you are, it doesn't matter, right? But defacing the Lincoln Memorial, Abraham Lincoln did more than any person in history for black people. He's the one that freed the slaves. It was him. And that monument was defaced, not destroyed, but it was pretty fucked up during the riots or the protests. Now, my thing is this. So many of you out there are emotional about Black Lives Matter and African-American communities getting their just due and equality. That individual created equality. The first step for equality, Abraham Lincoln. The fact that people went and tried to destroy that monument and tear it down and deface it and stuff shows me that this may not necessarily be about Black Lives Matters. I feel like this whole situation, this is my personal opinion, seeing what it is about control. There are people out there saying, I want this, I want that, I want this, and you're gonna do it, or I'm gonna boycott, I'm gonna protest, I'm gonna tear your shit up. To me, that's control. You're taking what you want by force. That's not a democracy, that's not American, that's a control. That's fucking communism. And you're being led into that by these people that are saying, if you just want something, take it. How would you like to be sitting in your house and I'm like, you know what? I no longer want that person to have that fucking car. And I kick in your fucking door, I take your keys, I beat the shit out of you, I drive away. Would you like that? No, but it's the same thing. It's not, well, I don't think that person should have that car anymore because it makes a lot of noise and it wakes up the kids in the neighborhood. So we're going to vote in the neighborhood to make sure that they put on a muffler on it or whatever the case may be, right? That would be America. But kicking in the door and taking it, that's communism, some shit you see in fucking like Nazis, right? Or fucking China. And that's where we're at. Right now, it's not about racism, equality. It's not about that right now. Right now, it's about control. And I think people are missing that fact because they're so emotional about what happened that they don't realize what these groups are feeding into them is about control, controlling everything. The groups want to control the narrative. They want to control America, period. So they use the guise of racial equality and racism to get control. So how you stop one organization from controlling things is making a democracy. There is no one organization. The people, it's not an organization. The people of each state, of each town where these monuments and things like that are, get to vote what happens to their town. It's your town. You should have the decision. It should be nobody's decision but yours. It shouldn't be President Trump's to decide whether it stays there. It shouldn't be Black Lives Matter, and it shouldn't be Antifa. It should be your decision in your community, what you do with those monuments and how you handle it. That's America. So I'll be honest with you guys, I mean, shit's crazier than it's probably ever been in my lifetime. I mean, you know, with the Vietnam War and stuff, I was really little when stuff was going on like that, and Desert Storm and stuff like that. I don't, of course, 9/11 was absolutely crazy. But we're in a time right now where we're not being attacked by foreign invaders. We're attacking ourselves. This is one of the craziest times in history. And I step back and go, all we have to do is stop and think about ourselves and our communities and what we need to do and take care of our communities and try and start there. Each community, if it takes care of itself, eventually everything will be okay. But it has to be community to community. Do it on a wide scale, say nationwide, it's not gonna happen. It's too big of a job. It has to be broken down into smaller steps. And I feel like those smaller steps, voting in your communities to what you want to happen. And you have to show up. There's a lot of people out there complaining, a lot of people that want change. Look, these assemblies happen all the time where you can go and vote and you can change what's happening in your community and people don't show up. They list them, excuse me, they don't show up. They're busy doing anything else. Hanging at home, hanging with their buddies at the fucking mall, like whatever, you know what I mean? Fucking, they're doing whatever else and go to a fucking ball game and watch Nationals play. They're doing anything else except taking charge and responsibility of their own community and being a leader themselves. And then bitching later on that they want the entire country to do what they want it to do. Well, why would the entire country do something you haven't even done in your own community yet? Start with your community, and then maybe from there could be a national type thing where they kind of, not blend it together, but they kind of go across and say, hey, we'll do this in every state. You know, we'll allow every state to do this. Maybe we can come up with some like federal guidelines that we can do for the voting. Like, it's got to start somewhere. And I'm not hearing solutions. I'm hearing anger. I'm hearing do this, do that. People telling people, take this down, do that. If I want this, I want that. Fuck you, fuck you. And I'm like, that's not going to change shit. All you're going to do is be like, you can't control the situation. They can't control the situation. It needs to be done together, right? It needs to be working together. Until we work together, ain't shit going to change. You know what I mean? What's going to happen is this shit's going to pop off. And eventually as it dies down and other shit happens and people start getting wrapped up in that, we've got an election coming, right? People start getting wrapped up in the election. If we don't take action now with this change in our communities, it's going to get pushed by the wayside, disappear. It's going to be, all this is going to be for nothing. The George Floyd protest will be for nothing. The riots would be for nothing. I mean, here's the deal. You guys protested and rioted. You're being heard. Everybody around the world is listening to you right now. What's your solution? The solution starts with your own home, your own community. And I do feel like that's the way change starts. It starts with one ember to start a fire. Who's going to be that ember? Is it going to be you? It could be. How'd you like to be responsible for changing your community? How amazing would that be? Start today, guys. There's no time like the present. Don't waste time. Every second that goes by, time is ticking. We're getting older. We're losing the opportunity to create a better world for ourselves. Not just our kids, but ourselves while we're here. So hopefully this video makes a lot of sense, and I'm hoping that this is like a right down the middle of the line. It's not left, it's not right, it's not black, it's not white, it's not pro, it's not con. It's right down the middle, and it lets you decide what happens in your own communities, which I feel is the right thing to do. Be blessed, guys. Enjoy your day. Take care of each other. I'll see you guys on the other side. I'm BioStreet, and I approve this message. And we're out.